Donald Trump descending into madness on Air Force One as he descends into Washington, D.C. on an awful flight back from his taxpayer-funded vacation in Mar-a-Lago since Tuesday, as Donald Trump descends into D.C. while he mentally descends into madness. The crypto exchange is descending as well.
On the other side of humanity's coin, we have Donald Trump Jr., who was in court again this morning. There he is. You hear the protesters chanting, crime family, and that is basically what these people are, a crime family, a very dumb crime family, the Gambozos, if you will. And Don Jr., he's so embarrassing. He's on the stand, he's testifying in this $250 million fraud trial, and he has to compliment. He said his father is an artist.
You know what's more satisfying than watching Trump get destroyed on late night TV? Watching his son get absolutely demolished. And nobody has been more relentless, more surgical, more brutally effective at exposing Donald Trump Jr. than Jimmy Kimmel. This isn't a casual roasting. This is a 7-year war that started with a Twitter trap and evolved into one of the most systematic takedowns in late night history. Let me take you back to October 7th, 2017. Trump tweets his usual nonsense about late-night hosts being unfunny and always anti-Trump. Kimmel fires back with a simple offer: quit the presidency, and Trump can have the show all to himself. Classic Kimmel.
I'm not supposed to rely on a big five accounting firm, like one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I can pay them millions of dollars. I rely on them to do accounting, but I'm supposed to know more than them. By this logic, insurance companies are going to start suing patients for listening to their doctors. Right? Do you understand? Like, am I supposed to know more? Oh, Don Jr. doesn't know anything about it. I'm not an accountant. I'm a business guy.
I'm a business guy who had his elbows soldered together, and now...
You have Bitcoin crashing last night in a matter of 2 to 3 hours. Massive liquidation moves. Bitcoin fell below $86,000. Donald Trump, who's advertised himself as a crypto president, has been an absolute disaster for it. And there hadn't even been any significant news that you could account for these massive liquidation positions being taken. But we've seen these massive drops, and on those drops, we've seen the stock market futures down significant as well. While on Main Street, though, where the American people reside, people continue to live paycheck to paycheck, being psychologically tortured in this disastrous Trump economy. People can't afford their rent. People can't afford basically anything right now, when Donald Trump promised that he would make everything affordable on day one. But Donald Trump continues to pretend that everyone's living in a golden age and everything is far more affordable right now. So Donald Trump has his stooges, like his national economics advisor, Kevin Hassett, make his rounds on TV, and Kevin Hassett says, you know what?
But here's where it gets interesting. Donald Trump Jr., sitting at home scrolling Twitter like the extremely online loser he is, decides to jump in. This is his big moment. He's going to trap the liberal late-night host. He tweets at Kimmel, "Thoughts on Harvey Weinstein?" starts asking for a friend. The Harvey Weinstein scandal had just broken. Don Jr. thought he was being clever, trying to catch Kimmel in some kind of liberal hypocrisy because Weinstein was a Democratic donor. What an idiot. Kimmel immediately turned Don Jr.'s own father's language against him.
And while Don Jr. was in New York preparing to testify in court, his fiancée Kimberly was at the party dressed up as Trump's constituent, Snow White. Don Jr. was not at Daddy Donald's last night. The prodigal son was being grilled as part of the $250 million case against their business. There he is, tiny soprano. I wonder what's going through his head right now.
I should have worn makeup.
Oh, yeah, good one. Here's the thing about Don Jr. What he lacks in intelligence, he also lacks in charisma. So,
my turkey was cheaper. I bought 2 because I like generic brands, everybody. Here, play this clip.
President Trump gave us the best economy we had in 50 years in my entire lifetime in the first term. And then things kind of went south, and now he's trying to bring it back. And I think people think you can just snap your fingers and everything's going to be great. But one thing that has been great has been gas prices, the lowest in 4 years.
Yeah, there are a lot of states that are below $2 a gallon. You know, turkey prices were down 19 cents. I bought 2 different ones because some other show was criticizing me because I said, oh, generic turkeys are pretty good. So I made 2 this time, and I didn't really notice a difference. So buy the cheaper turkey next year, folks. But you can get the fancy one if you want to. But the bottom line is it's next year that really has us excited.
Yeah.
You mean that big story from the failing, liberal, one-sided New York Times? I think it's disgusting. Using Trump's exact phrasing, brilliant. Don Jr. responds thinking he's won. Great, I look forward to your monologues next week. That's when Kimmel dropped the atomic bomb. He sent Don Jr. the Access Hollywood tape, you know, the one where daddy admits to grabbing women by the pussy, with a simple message, great. In the meantime, enjoy this. And if you think that's brutal, drop a comment below because this is just the beginning. October 10th, 2017, Kimmel goes on air and explains the whole thing to his audience.
And then Kevin Hassett also said, you know what? Gas is lower. Everything's lower. Prices are way lower. Stop gaslighting us, you con artists. Here, play this clip.
Wondering how much of that spending increase you think is attributable to the fact that prices are up. Let me give you an example. The maker of Tonka trucks said a couple days ago that a toy truck that cost $30 last year is going to cost $40 this year, partly because they lost about 8 weeks of shipping due to the U.S. trade war with China. What's your advice to holiday shoppers who don't want to spend more this year than they did last year or can't afford to spend more?
Right. Well, as you know, it depends on what you're looking at. Like egg prices are down, gasoline prices drop below $2 a gallon in a lot of places.
You mean
mortgage
below?
Rates are down.
Gas prices on average are still at $3 a gallon.
Yeah, that's right. For a few states, they got below 2. And so the point is just that in the end, what matters is in the aggregate, the average across everything that everybody buys.
Cracker Barrel is the Amish Applebee's. It's Apple B minus. It's barely a restaurant. It's a restaurant that sells yo-yos made of wood, okay? Calm down. But all the woke yokels were up in arms. Even cosplay grits gobbler, New York prep school Nepo baby Don Jr. wine. WTF is wrong with Cracker Barrel? As if he's ever been to a Cracker Barrel. You ruined my rocking chair store. Maybe my favorite bit of misplaced outrage came from this gentleman who wrote, they got rid of a white guy from a logo and they are celebrating and patting themselves on the back for it. Yeah, yes, it's racism. White men are being erased from American logos. It's Caucasian icon genocide. I mean...
Just a normal, regular weekend for me. Went to a wedding, got a flu shot, wound up in a fight with the president's son on Twitter. He breaks down Don Jr.'s trap attempt, then delivers the kill shot that probably still keeps Don Jr. up at night. Hillary Clinton's campaign did take money from what turned out to be a high-profile man who has been accused of sexual harassment multiple times, and not just one of them, by the way. She took money from 2 of them, Harvey Weinstein and Donald Trump. He showed photos of Clinton with both men, then looked straight into the camera with advice for Don Jr. Next time you're defending your father and think it's a good idea to draw a parallel between him and a freshly accused sexual predator, don't. It doesn't help. It really doesn't. Fast forward to March 2019.
Now, while the American people are suffering, Donald Trump was posting the following yesterday. He goes, the presidential ballroom, which I am building at the White House with all private donations and funding, zero cost to the American taxpayer, will be at its completion the most beautiful and spectacular ballroom anywhere in the world. It is something that has been needed and desired at the White House for over 150 years, but something which no other president was equipped to do, but I am. And as long as we are going to do it, we are going to do it right. It will be a magnificent addition to the White House, the most important since the building of the West Wing. That's also Donald Trump there attacking the current architect, McCreary Architects, that Trump hired to build the Golden Ballroom because the architects don't want to make it bigger.
You know, I mentioned last night Trump was the guest of honor at a launch event for Elon Musk's new rocket, and he wasn't the only Donald Trump. Don Jr. was there, and he's been getting some unwanted attention for this. Let's look at that again in slow motion. He goes to the pocket, he fishes around, and Well, let's not jump to conclusion. Maybe he's got some fun dip in there. You know,
Reports come out that Don Jr. is being groomed for a 2024 presidential run. Kimmel's response? Donald Trump Jr. is reportedly being groomed for a run in 2024. It's not an expression. They literally groom him like a dog. He made a stroking gesture that absolutely destroyed any credibility Don Jr. might have had. Then Kimmel's team created a fake campaign ad with the tagline, "My name is Trump too." The voiceover was perfect. "My name is Donald Trump Jr. People call me Donald Trump Jr. That's our big hotel. That's my name on the outside. It's also my dad's name. He's the president. I shot this leopard with a gun. I wasn't scared." Kimmel's conclusion? Don Jr. couldn't run a Dunkin' Donuts. He's going to be the president. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what happened on August 24th, 2020.
I get it. My guys, who I stayed in touch with, many of them just dear friends, they're like, "Hey, dude, there's no way you would have gotten away with that." I go, "I know. Luckily, I don't snort cocaine. Like, it's not my thing."
maybe his veneers were hurting and he needed a little dollop of Sensodyne. Whatever it was, it didn't stop DJ TJ from posting another super cool TikTok video from inside a rocket that unfortunately did not launch with him in it.
We're actually inside a Falcon Heavy rocket right now. Does not get cooler than this. Each one of these engines has the equivalent of 4 747 engines, each one. And there's dozens of them in these rockets. But each one of these guys, 4 747 engines.
He's fine, everybody. There's nothing to worry about at all. Where's Hunter?
But Donald Trump now wants to make it like 3 to 4 times the size of the White House. And the architects are like, what are you doing? And they were complicit to begin with, the architects. Now, there's not a single American who said, you know what I need right now? I need a golden ballroom. You know what I need right now? Make that ballroom even bigger. And it wasn't that no other president was equipped to do it. No other president even conceived of a concept of building a golden ballroom near the White House and ripping down the East Wing, while there were other pressing matters of the presidency to deal with. But yet, this is Donald Trump's focus right now. By the way, his other focus is part of the PPP, the Pedo Protection Program, covering up a child sex trafficking ring, and also continuing to grift off of his supporters and the taxpayers. Donald Trump sent this email out to his supporters. He said, "My FBI Director Kash Patel found what they tried to burn. But the truth is, on borrowed time, you need to read this memo now before they slam the door shut." So you may be thinking, if you're a Trump supporter, ooh, let me click on it and read the memo. Did they find the Epstein files? Well, you click on it and it says, should we expose lies and investigate everyone involved in Russia hoax against me? And then Donald Trump asks you for $3,300. So while the American people are suffering, Donald Trump is asking for money. By the way, I showed another email that Donald Trump sent yesterday in a video I made earlier in the day yesterday, where Trump said, can you please make a personal sacrifice for me? I wouldn't be asking you right now unless I really needed it, but can you send me some money? I kid you not, that was an actual email that Donald Trump sent. He said he was struggling and needed money from his supporters and he wouldn't be asking if he wasn't desperate. Donald Trump has made billions of dollars off the presidency while the American people suffer, and those are the types of emails that he is sending. And by the way, when Donald Trump goes, Russia,
the Republican National Convention. Don Jr. gives a pre-recorded speech and something is clearly wrong. His eyes are bloodshot and watery. His face is covered in sweat. He's jerking around, talking way too fast, slurring his words. Within minutes, cocaine is the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Not RNC, not Trump, cocaine. Stephen Colbert, who was doing live coverage, absolutely murdered him. It was his keynote address in that he looked like he had snorted a key. So before I tell you what he said, can we zoom in on Junior's sweaty face and wet bloodshot eyes? Either he's high or that's what happens when you live in the splash zone of Screamin' Guilfoyle. Don Jr.'s response 2 days later on Fox and Friends, I guess there must have been something with the lighting. The lighting. That's his excuse.
Inside update on Trump's very extreme White House makeover. You know who apparently wasn't on board with the plan to demolish the East Wing? Melania did not join the president for his trip to Asia, and according to the Wall Street Journal, is not a fan of his latest renovation. The First Lady is said to have raised private concerns about building this ballroom, which I would have concerns about a room where I was expected to slow dance with Donald Trump, too. But
Okay, you mean the Russian plan of surrender for Ukraine that your regime laundered and tried to force upon Zelensky to give up basically all of eastern Ukraine? Because Russia is happening before our very eyes. We've seen the transcripts between Witkoff and his Russian counterparts where they were talking about making Ukraine surrender and then divvying up the land. And then, of course, we've heard other reporting how it was always Russia's plan to basically bribe you off with hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars that they'd probably never give you either in exchange for betraying Ukraine and NATO, which you fell right into that trap. Oh, by the way, when I started this video talking about the descending Bitcoin, the crashing Bitcoin, you know who's Donald Trump's cryptos are? A guy by the name of Dave Sachs. And a New York Times expose on him that dropped this weekend explains how David Sachs has 708 tech investments that could be aided directly or indirectly by his policies, according to a New York Times analysis, causing Steve Bannon, a MAGA, to say the tech bros are out of control. Talking about out of control, let's go talk about Trump and his disastrous landing into Washington, D.C. aboard Air Force One. When he was asked about Governor Walz calling for Trump's MRI results to be released, Donald Trump says he has no idea what part of his body it was done on, but he says it wasn't the brain, which likely means it was his brain, and he says you could release it. Okay, well then release it. Let's see the MRI results. Let's see, I don't know, is it Alzheimer's? Is it dementia? What is it? Because it probably is in the brain, and you probably have what happened to your father, Fred, is probably what happened, because these things are genetic, and it seems that what Fred was going through, you're going through now. But I'm just giving my opinion after all, which is protected by the First Amendment.
So Don Jr. is back in the news. And not because he finally got a job that isn't son of the guy who broke democracy. Every week, this guy shows up somewhere yelling like a car alarm in human form. You ever notice how he talks? It's like he snorted a can of Red Bull and then tried to explain quantum physics to a squirrel. The latest? Don Jr. went on another one of his Fox News I'm Totally Calm rants, where his eyes are darting like he's trying to read Morse code off the teleprompter. The topic this time, wait for it, Hunter Biden, because of course it is. This guy's obsessed with Hunter like he's auditioning for Dateline Daddy Issues.
Then he tried to deflect to Hunter Biden, because of course he did. The internet wasn't buying it. His own ex-girlfriend, Aubrey O'Day, tweeted in November 2020 that she'd gotten him so high once that he projectile vomited chicken in the bathroom sink all night. She said she never saw him do cocaine specifically, but admitted they did Adderall together, so that's who we're dealing with here. When Don Jr. got COVID in November 2020, Kimmel showed no mercy. Don Jr. posted an Instagram video saying, "Apparently I got the Rona." Kimmel's response, "Why do bad things keep happening to good people? If you refer to it as the Rona, you might not deserve to get the virus, but you deserve to get it more than anybody else does." This is from the same guy who spent months downplaying COVID, saying deaths were almost nothing, while nearly 2,000 Americans were dying every single day.
He says, the media never talks about Hunter. Buddy, you are the media at this point. You've made a second career out of Hunter Biden fan fiction. Every time you say his name, a fact checker gets its wings. And can we talk about that delivery? He sounds like Alex Jones got trapped in a blender with a Mountain Dew. Every time he talks, you expect a monster truck rally to break out behind him. Sunday, Sunday, we're losing America. He keeps posting these videos from what looks like his dad's abandoned golf cart garage, sweaty, ranting, yelling about communism. Bro, you're wearing a $5,000 vest in Aspen. You're not Che Guevara, you're Chad Guevara.
This was not a good night for the president. Everything he touched was a loser. Trump hasn't been this embarrassed since he found out there was a Donald Trump Jr. But don't worry. If you're tired of all the losing, Fear not, he's got an excuse. In fact, he's got two of them. He wrote, Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. Now, if Republicans had won and he wasn't on the ballot, would he take credit for that? Oh, yes, he definitely would, but he lost. And then he posted this. He posted, and so it begins, which was either a response to Mamdani winning the mayoral race or he just sat down on the toilet. I don't know.
Here, play this clip right here.
They asked about my MRI. MRIs are very... Governor Walz asked you to release the MRI records. Can you tell us what it was Governor Walz, you mean the incompetent governor? So, if they want to release it, it's okay with me to release it. It's perfect. What was the reason they... It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So, if you want to hear about it, or if you want to release it, you want to have it released. News Nation, failing News Nation. News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it. Tell us what they were looking at. For what, releasing? No. What part of your body was the MRI looking at? I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing. Goodbye, everybody. You too. Thank you, Mr. President.
Then Donald Trump is asked by a reporter, well, what is your view on the reporting that Pete Hegseth may have ordered the military to shoot and kill survivors on one of the fishing boats after an initial strike on the fishing boats? Let me be clear about my position right here from Midas Touch. The entire operation was a war crime, not just the double tap or the double strike, but the double strike was certainly a war crime as well.
If these Trump family hypocrisies are blowing your mind, smash that like button and let me know what you think in the comments. July 16th, 2023, things got even weirder. At the Turning Point Action Conference, Don Jr. decided, completely unprompted, to announce to everyone that he doesn't snort cocaine. Luckily, I don't snort cocaine. It's just not my thing. The way he said it, all animated and gesturing wildly, just made everyone more suspicious. The internet exploded. One Twitter user perfectly captured it. My I don't snort cocaine t-shirt has people asking a lot of questions already answered by my shirt. Another noted that Don Jr. has talked about cocaine literally hundreds of times, one might say obsessively. The Daily Show had already turned his wild rants into a fake show called Cocaine News earlier that year. September 4th, 2024, Kimmel comes back from summer break with a new target, J.D. Vance. There are a lot of things Trump isn't good at. One of the things he's especially not good at is picking running mates. He made a huge mistake with this J.D. Vance. Then Kimmel reveals that Don Jr. reportedly pushed his father to pick Vance, who became one of the most unpopular VP picks in modern history. Kimmel's verdict? Another good move, dumbass. If Trump loses this election, he's going to sue his son to take the junior away. But here's where it gets really good. November 19th, 2024. Don Jr. goes to a SpaceX rocket launch with his dad. Someone catches him on camera, pulling his hand from his pocket and rubbing his finger over his teeth and gums. The video goes viral immediately. 600,000 views on TikTok, exploding on Twitter. November 20th, Kimmel plays it back in slow motion on his show. Let's not jump to conclusion. Maybe he's got some fun dip in there. Maybe his veneers were hurting and he needed a little dollop of Sensodyne. The way Kimmel says it, pretending to be reasonable while showing exactly what everyone's thinking, makes it even more devastating. When Don Jr. posted a meme mocking Ukrainian President Zelensky with POV, you're 38 days from losing your allowance, Kimmel destroyed him. Bold words from a man who is definitely still on his father's phone plan. If I was Donald Trump Jr., I wouldn't ever use the word allowance in any situation. What is his job? Is being horrible in occupation now? That's the question everyone wants answered. What does Don Jr. actually do besides fail upward and embarrass his family? The most recent destruction came when Trump finally signed the Epstein Files bill. Kimmel's joke. Trump hasn't been this nervous about signing something since Don Jr.'s birth certificate. One sentence. Complete annihilation. The implication is clear. Trump regrets having him. September 2025, Kimmel called Don Jr. a cosplay grits gobbler New York prep school Nepo baby. Think about that description. Cosplay. He's fake. Grits gobbler. Pretending to be Southern. New York prep school. Elite. Nepo baby. Earned absolutely nothing. 4 words that expose everything about who Donald Trump Jr. really is. Drop a comment below. Do you think Don Jr. is Trump's biggest mistake? Or is that title still reserved for everything else? Let me know what you think. Here's what makes Kimmel's campaign so effective. It's not just jokes, it's systematic exposure of who Don Jr. really is. A privileged, incompetent, possibly substance-abusing Nepo baby, desperately trying to earn his father's love and failing miserably every single time. Every Twitter battle, every cocaine joke, every dumbass moment. Kimmel's building a case that Don Jr. is exactly what America doesn't need. And 7 years later, the evidence is overwhelming. Kimmel's not just roasting Don Jr., he's documenting his complete and total inadequacy for public life. And honestly, it's working.